This is
Good evening and welcome to the Canyon City Planning Commission, Wednesday, October 24th, 2018. I call this meeting to order. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Denise, will you please call roll?
sure. Good evening. Chairman Maloney,
Here?
Commissioner Clark,
Here.
Commissioner Harmon,
Here.
Commissioner Ledoux,
Here.
Commissioner Sherrato,
Here.
Commissioner Brandon Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Randy Smith,
Here.
and Council Representative John Hamrick.
Here. Thank you, Denise. First thing, I need to ask for approval of the minutes from the August 22nd, 2018 Planning Commission. Does anyone have any corrections or concerns? Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting.
Way back in August.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Second.
And second, Denise, will you please call roll?
Certainly. Commissioner Clark,
Here. Aye. I'm sorry.
Commissioner Brandon Smith,
Aye.
Chairman Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Harmon,
Aye.
Commissioner Ledoux,
Aye.
Commissioner Sherrato,
Aye.
Commissioner Randy Smith.
Aye. Okay. Item number 4 is a public hearing for a minor subdivision, Central Park Minor Subdivision. Applicants Vicky and Michael Pullen, property owners. The location is 2845 Central Avenue. I open this public hearing. The provisions of the City Municipal Code, and in particular Title 17 thereof, the subdivision regulations, and the comprehensive plan of the City of Canyon City are incorporated into the record of the hearing as if set forth verbatim. Do we have a staff report?
We do. Before I begin, I should let you all know that we do have Catherine Sellers with us this evening by phone in case any legal questions come up this evening. I just want to make sure you were aware of that before I began my report.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. This evening we are here to conduct a public hearing on a request by Vicky and Michael Pullen for approval of a minor subdivision at 2845 Central Avenue being called Central Park Minor Subdivision. The subject property is a vacant 4.59-acre parcel located east of Field Avenue between Central Avenue and Elizabeth Street. It is zoned RL, Rural Living Residential. It is surrounded by residential zoning. To the east and north, the site is bordered by existing mobile home parks. To the west is a large, undeveloped R3 high-density residential zone. And to the south, there are existing large-lot, single-family residential uses within an R2 medium-density residential zone district. The subject property itself has a relatively level grade but sits slightly lower than Elizabeth Street to the north. Although there is evidence that the property previously contained a residence, the only structure remaining on site is a 10-foot by 24-foot framed garage and storage building, which you can see in this picture right here. As previously stated, the subject property is zoned R1, Rural Living Residential, which requires a minimum lot size of 15,000 square feet. Lots within the RL zone must have a minimum of 15,000 square feet, and the lots proposed within this subdivision range from 32,350 square feet to 48,477 square feet. The applicant is proposing to subdivide the property into 5 total lots. Of these 5 lots, lots 1, 2, and 3 will access Elizabeth Street to the north, while lots 4 and 5 will access Central Avenue to the south. This arrangement was recommended by the city engineer who decided to minimize the number of driveway curb cuts on the busier of the 2 streets, that being Central Avenue. In order to qualify as a minor subdivision under the City of Canyon City's regulations, the proposed subdivision must meet the following criteria. First, the subject parcel, the parcel subject to the subdivision request is not more than 10 acres in size, and the Central Park Minor Subdivision comprises a total of 4.59 acres. Second, the resulting subdivision will create 5 or fewer lots. 5 lots is what's being proposed with the Central Park subdivision proposal. Next, all resulting lots meet both minimum lot area and minimum lot width along the street frontage. Within the RL zone district, those minimums are 15,000 square feet and 100 feet at the street edge respectively. The Central Park minor subdivision exceeds those minimum area and width requirements on all 5 lots. All lots must be served with utilities, including water, sanitary sewer, all lots must access an existing public right-of-way. Central Park minor subdivision proposes the 5 lots being created access the 2 existing streets, Elizabeth Street to the north and Central Avenue to the south. And finally, all lots must be served with utilities, including water, sanitary sewer, electricity, and natural gas. Staff has been advised that the existing utilities are within both of the adjacent street rights-of-way. Staff finds the proposed Central Park minor subdivision meets all of these criteria. Staff also finds that the proposed subdivision and single-family uses are consistent with the residential character of this neighborhood. The existing lots to the south of this parcel are all above minimum lot size for an R2 zone. And between these homes and the mobile home parks to the east, these neighborhoods have been in place for decades. This will be a continuation of the residential character of this area and is supported by the city's comprehensive plan. There is one change to the conditions of approval, however. Subsequent to the city engineer's review of the project, the applicant appealed the request for an additional 10 feet of right-of-way, which would make a total of 20 feet of dedicated right-of-way along Central Avenue to be dedicated. The plat submitted for this had a 10-foot right-of-way dedication along the north side of Central Avenue. The major thoroughfare plan calls for a total of 20 feet, so the city engineer initially requested this change in his review. The applicant is willing to voluntarily dedicate the 10 feet, but not the full 20. After discussing it with the applicant and reviewing the subdivision regulations, which were in fact adopted by Planning Commission back in July, in which exactions for right-of-way are not required for minor subdivisions, the city engineer updated his review and eliminated the request for the additional 10 feet. Therefore, staff is recommending that the third condition of the staff report be removed. Now, as of today, staff has received no phone calls or emails regarding this request. There have been no inquiries about what it entails and no opinion offered positively or negatively about the subdivision request. So with that, staff is prepared to make the following recommendations. First, staff recommends that the Planning Commission, following a public hearing on this request, cite findings of fact concerning proper notice and foundation of the request so as to confirm the city's jurisdiction to make a determination on this subdivision request. And second, staff recommends that Planning Commission recommended the City Council approve the Central Park minor subdivision request subject to the 3 conditions contained in staff's report after the removal of condition number 3. This will conclude staff's presentation. As always, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Present to speak on behalf of this project are Vicki and Michael Pullen.
Thanks, Patrick. Let's start with any questions from the commission for staff and/or council representation. Commissioner Ledoux.
Thank you. Who owns the lot to the west? Presumably it is a different property owner?
That is a different property ownership.
Thank you. That is all.
Okay. Would the applicants like to come up and maybe field a couple questions possibly? Yes, please. Please state your name and address.
My name is Vicki Pullen with an I, V-I-C-K-I, that's correction, so it matches the rest of the documents. My husband, Michael, and I are doing a minor subdivision. My intent originally was to do a full project with infrastructure in place, all the utilities and everything. I met with all the departments, did all my due diligence, and decided that it was a little bit costly. Which I expected, but I think it's probably beneficial to whoever the buyers might be to go in and put the infrastructure where they wanted it at the same time as they tap off or expand. It's a great piece of property. The lots are very level. They have great views all the way around. And we thought it would be maybe beneficial to the area to do a little larger lot size than what's been going on with trailer parks and the mobile home communities that are existing in there. They're kind of pushed together, and I think it's nice to get a good blend. So we just decided to go ahead and do it. I kept driving by for the last 8 years, and it kept telling me to stop and buy it, so I finally did. And hopefully somebody else will want to buy it after it's all split up. So at this time, I'm not building anything there. That doesn't mean I won't come at a future date and maybe do something. But we'll just see how it goes for now.
All right, thank you. Does anybody on the commission have questions for the applicants? Patrick, do you have anything to add before we close the public hearing?
No, sir, not unless the planning commission has any questions for me.
Yes, come on back up.
Sorry, on the application agenda item, it said I have a partner, John Carochi. I don't know this person, and he hasn't given me any money, so.
That was a leftover item from the last time I used this particular template. You'll remember that was Greeting Homes.
Yeah, that was a
subdivision.
previous minor subdivision we did.
So I would like to have him removed as part of this.
It will be removed when this goes forward to
Thank
council.
Okay.
Could I ask one question, please? I don't want, it says, as part of the concerns with the city engineering, that there might be significant drainage impacts. Are you aware of that? And what can we do with, I don't want to come up with another stormwater incident.
On the
so-
north side, the natural drainage of the land runs to the southwest. It's not huge, and you could probably, if you develop, you could just probably do a natural swale through there, and I think that would take care of it. I don't think it requires any major drainage.
That wouldn't be a significant
No.
monetary impact upon yourself? Or?
No, and the properties are large enough that they'll accommodate houses, buildings, out structures.
So you're pretty sure that the engineering department will go with what you're suggesting, or at
I'm
least
pretty
y'all can
sure.
work
Are you
together with?
pretty sure?
Okay. All right,
Yes.
thank you.
We're good.
Okay, thank you, Vicki.
Question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
You've got, it appears to me, and maybe I'm wrong, on the drawing, do we have a boundary conflict with the property on the east? Is there a 10-foot boundary conflict with the property on the east, and will that become an issue when you're selling? Because we've got the darker line, which identifies your lot lines on the east side. And it says, where'd that go? West boundary. And then 10 feet over, there's a dotted line that says east boundary, which would imply that,
I believe that is referring to an easement that exists on the mobile home park property.
so there's nothing as far as, you're not gonna have a future land buyer who wants to buy a lot and come up with a,
That property line has also been adjusted with the assessor's office, and it's kind of come down over the last 50, 60, 70 years that they measured it a little differently, and the trailer park, I think at one point encroached a little bit, and then that line was adjusted, but that's been quite a while ago, and the assessor's office has assured me it's okay. Matt Cook did the survey on it. He allowed for that adjustment.
it looks like it's done with, at least with the.
Otherwise, the trailer would be mine, and I don't want it, so.
Yeah, I mean, the line's in the right spot from what I can tell, it just looks like there might be a conflict.
Yeah, we allowed for that.
Okay, thank you. Patrick, is there any concern with that easement and that?
No, the easement, I think, is a multi-utility easement that runs along the west end of that particular mobile home park, and common utilities such as buried electricity cables and whatnot go through there.
Okay. Is there any other comments from the audience? Comments from the commission? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to close this public hearing. Any further discussion? One more time? No? Is everyone here?
We're good.
Microphone. Patrick does such a good job with this stuff that
It was pretty thorough. I mean, I thought it was pretty straightforward.
I agree,
Except for that Carochi guy.
except for the Carochi comment. Okay, so I'll now ask for a motion and a second on the request based on the findings of fact. And there are 3, not 4, staff recommendation conditions to go with that. A motion and a second based on the findings of fact.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the findings of fact, that the requested Central Park minor subdivision was submitted by Vicky and Michael Pullen, the owners of the property at 2845 Central Avenue, and that the plat as proposed complies with applicable subdivision regulations and is consistent with minimum area width and coverage requirements for the RL Rural Living Residential Zoning District, and adequate public notice as required by the Canyon City Municipal Code has been provided, and Planning Commission has conducted a public hearing on the proposed minor subdivision plat, providing adequate opportunity to concerned citizens to speak in favor or against the proposed subdivision.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second. One of the Smiths will second.
One of the Smiths, second.
I'll second. He seconded the first one, so I'll second the second one.
Okay, any further discussion? Denise, please call roll.
Commissioner Harmon,
Aye.
Commissioner Randy Smith,
Here. Aye.
Chairman Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Clark,
Aye.
Commissioner Ledoux,
Aye.
Commissioner Sherrato,
Aye.
Commissioner Brandon Smith.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Now I need a motion and a second to, for the recommendation to City Council.
Mr. Chairman, do we want to read off all of these recommendations, or do we
Oh.
want to just do this with the exception of recommendation number 3?
Let's add, can we amend that to add the conditions, the 3 conditions?
I believe if you read the text, I had actually written in there, subject to the 4 conditions, and I would recommend you probably want to modify that to say deleting condition number 3 and approving the 3 remaining conditions.
Okay.
But if you wanted to read all of those conditions into the record, that's perfectly fine.
I think we can just say omitting condition number 3.
I would like to make that motion then, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I move that the Planning Commission recommend that the City Council of the City of Canyon City approve the Central Avenue minor subdivision subject to the 3 conditions contained in the staff report, omitting item number 3, condition number 3, from the original 4 recommendations.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion? Denise, please call roll.
Commissioner Harmon,
Aye.
Commissioner Clark,
Aye.
Chairman Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Ledoux,
Aye.
Commissioner Sherrato,
Aye.
Commissioner Brandon Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Randy Smith.
Aye.
Okay, everything passes. Congratulations. Thanks for coming. Thank you very much. All right. Item number 5, we have a withdrawn announcement discussion. Continued public hearing for a special review use at 400 A and B Barrett Avenue Child Care Center in an R2 zone has been withdrawn at the request of the applicant.
That is correct, and because you had continued this at your August meeting to tonight, I wanted to make sure that there was some resolution to this on the record so that you all didn't go off wondering, well, whatever happened to that project we continued. The applicant, as you can see from the agenda packet, upon reflection, decided that this was not a project she wanted to pursue, and so she sent us a request to withdraw the application.
Okay, and we opened that public hearing, so we're just closing it.
You're just
Withdrawn.
closing the public hearing. You don't really need to take any action besides that.
Thank you. There's no other items on the agenda tonight, unless anyone has anything to talk about.
Happy Halloween.
Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
See you right before or after Thanksgiving, I'm not sure. Right.
Right before Christmas.
Maybe we should talk about our Thanksgiving schedule. Do we make any alterations? Because that would be the Thursday before Thanksgiving, correct?
Actually,
Or
it would be
Wednesday.
the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. The last Wednesday of
The
November.
28th after Thanksgiving.
Okay, so no conflict. If there's nothing else, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.